I guess the defining issue may be whether global warming is the defining issue. Because if it is the defining issue, as some people think it's going to be, then we're probably going to have a new government. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be an election this year. Somebody's going to want it, and since nobody can prevent other people from wanting it, which is the great thing of a minority with all kinds of parties around, I suspect we'll have it this year. Either the Conservatives are going to sense opportunity and they'll find a way to pull the plug, or have somebody else pull the plug, put them in a corner, as governments can do, or the opposition parties are going to sense opportunity and we'll jump the Conservatives. So I'm pretty sure I'd say 80-20 we get the election. It's a lot easier to talk about pulling out than it is to pull out, and Canadian troops will be in Afghanistan in 2007, they'll be in Afghanistan in 2008, and even when the mission's supposed to end in 2009, it's going to be very, very hard, I suspect, to pull out those troops because nobody else is going to go in and take their place, particularly in the southern part of the country. So as always in these situations, getting in is a lot easier than getting out. So I can't pick Bill Clinton, eh? I think Bill wants to pick Bill still, it seems. He says he's for Hillary, but he's always out there just in front of her talking and saying it, right? I think probably from the Democratic Party point of view, Hillary, because she's much better organized. She has name recognition within the Democratic Party. But I think probably, possibly, that Barack may be actually a little bit more electable because he's probably not as polarizing a figure as Hillary. Either one of the two of them, you'll have your first female presidential candidate or your first black presidential candidate. Maybe Rona Ambrose will make a comeback this year in a new portfolio, all spruced up, with the government not undermining her every step of the way. Maybe she'll do it because I think the Conservative government probably needs that softer image as well. George W. Bush, no great comeback this year. I think it's just going to be the air continuing to go into the tires. Tiger Woods should probably retire so that somebody else could have a chance of winning a major golf tournament, because it's just not fair. He should sort of play in the immortal league with other people. I don't think we need any political leaders to retire this year, although it'd be kind of nice to have Gilles Duceppe step aside so that you know, we can have a whole fresh slate. The Montreal Canadiens are going to win the Stanley Cup this year because the Montreal Canadiens have not won a Stanley Cup in this decade, and they always win a Stanley Cup in a decade. The blogs are not going to replace newspapers because the blogs depend totally and wholly on newspapers. What would people have to blog about or argue about if they didn't have their morning newspaper tell them what's going on in the world? So it's not going to happen, and the sure sign that it will happen will be when you go out at the end of the year to get the predictions for next year from some blog guy rather than from the editor of a newspaper.